Welcome to Center Ground, your home for unfiltered discussion, where we tackle today's most talked about topics, break down current events, and give our take on the internet's latest foolishness. Tune in and let's find some common ground. Let's get this party started.
Hey, Jess, can you answer the question for us?
What was the question?
Should a man pursue the position of provider, the label of provider, if he can control the woman that is sleeping next to him?
I don't know. What do you think?
No.
Can I?
I would start this video right. Like, I tell you one thing, I'm not a fan of this Jazz lady. I've seen her on a couple of panels. I've seen her in a couple of podcasts. This lady is almost holistically difficult. I think I don't need to see her finger to know that she's unmarried, because what man would want to be married to a woman like this? But she's the type of woman that every time you have something to say, she catches an attitude. She has a certain point that she believes, don't matter if it's true or not. And if you don't agree with her, you're wrong. The world's wrong. The world's evil. Everybody's against her. Then if you catch her like, hey, here's how I'm right, she'll just get real argumentative, dismissive, so on and so forth. So before this scene, they asked another woman a question. Hey, if a man is providing for the woman that he's sleeping next to, but she doesn't listen, she doesn't do anything he asks, nothing like that, should he continue to provide? It's a very simple question. The first lady, I can't remember her name, she said no, and then her internet cut out. But this one, she wants to play dumb, which is usually the tactic that's used, and she said, I don't know, what do you think? Real argumentative. It is like, why are you on a panel where, one, you don't know the questions being asked, which means you're not listening, and two, why can't you answer a question if you're on a panel? It's like, what's the point of even bringing you on a panel? But at this point, I think they just bring her on to be evil, to be the one that everyone dogs on because it's entertainment.
Can I say something, Fatty, real quick though? Sorry, go ahead, Ali. Go ahead.
No. So Fatty used to say this all the time, and people will say this: if you give a woman everything she wants, she becomes her worst self. And I say, AKA a trophy wife. All that happens to most men and leaves a man with blue balls. It leaves a man wanting appreciation. It leaves a man wanting a thank you. It leaves a man wanting a hug when he walks in the house. It leaves a man wanting consistent meals and sex that he never gets. It leaves a man not having, every time he tries to correct you and express his concerns, you make it about yourself and play big victim, and then shut down and become a grudge queen instead of a love queen. So if you don't want to be controlled, and that's what I was going to ask Jasmine as well too, and Lola, because I'm sure Jazz keeps professing she don't want to be controlled. Stop telling men what they need to do. Stop trying to coach a man's
And isn't that rather interesting? That's a rather interesting argument, right? So women like Jazz, and the other lady's name was Jasmine, which is why I got confused, because her name is Jazz, so I thought it was short for Jasmine, but it might be short for Jasmine, but whatever. So women like Jazz have an obsession with being controlled. They don't want to be controlled, which is really just a child's mentality. Everyone's controlled, right? If you're under a government, guess what? You're being controlled, right? If you have a job, you're being controlled. If you live in society, you're being controlled. But she has an obsession with not being controlled. And it's rather ironic that women like her love telling men what they need to be, what they should be, what they have to be. It's like you're telling them that they have to do something, but you hate when they tell you when you have to do something. Isn't that convenient?
Manhood down there, telling him what he needs to do with his manhood or what he needs to do with his life, and stop expecting men to invest in women and community. Because if you don't want them to be controlled and doing what's in the best interest of society, and you don't want to be controlled, stop trying to control men to be good men when you don't want to be good women and you want to continue to invest in yourself. If you don't want to be controlled, stop having men being controlled to do what's in the best interest of society. So no, it's
and that's only fair, right? I've never understood the argument. And I was watching something recently where it said it was somebody, I think it was, what is his name? Is it Anthony Mann? The dude that played This Is Your Granddaddy, that dude.
This is your granddaddy. This is your granddaddy. This is your granddaddy. Your granddaddy. Your granddaddy.
right? So he was talking about how a pastor was in front of a panel, a church panel of women, a group of women, and he asked them like, hey, what's your ideal man have? What is he supposed to have? What would he bring? You know, how could he contribute to the relationship? And all these women, you know, they draw out these long lists of these extreme qualifications. And then he told them like, look at that list and see if you can provide anything on that list. And it's easy to stump women like who think like that, where they just go for the max because they never stop to think like, hey, can I provide what I expect? So I get what he's saying. Why do you hate control, yet you want to control? And I think that's one of the biggest issues that people have with the feminist movement in modern times, because when the argument was about equality, that's a fair and fine argument. But we have seen in modern age that it's not really about equality, because the minute that some of these women get equal to the men that they're with, they leave that man behind because they think that man is less than. So it's like they don't actually want equality. They want power.
It's extremely overrated. If you could protect them,
and they will get that power by means of latching onto a guy with power. And in some cases, try to take power from that same man.
provide for yourself now, you need to bring love to the table. If you want a good human being, invest and reward good men and good human beings. What it seems like is y'all connect with the men who will give you everything you want till you don't want it anymore. And whether you get what you want or don't get what you want, you're still the miserable human being who's not investing in being a humanitarian or the good loving person you're asking to be. So if you're in today's society, can protect and provide for yourself now, just be a loving person and be with another loving person.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I agree. I think you should do what works best for you. I mean, if the only way you feel you need, I feel like for some men, for certain men, they feel they have to control everything to feel safe. And so if you have to control every, aspect of your woman in order to be with someone, in order to feel like the only way that
I didn't want to cut her off, but she's talking very, very slow. So I question when women talk like this. It's like, what kind of guys are you connecting with? Like, seriously. Because most of the men I know tend to be very chill. They don't bother their ladies as much. It's like, what are you doing this weekend? I don't know. Whatever my girl want to do. Right? Where you going? I don't know. Whatever my girl want to go. Like, it's like these guys, they're not picky about anything at this point. It's like, what are you gonna eat? I don't know. What are you gonna wear? I don't know. How you living? I don't know. Are you even here? I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? It's like these dudes they seem like to be very docile. And I think that's because some women like dictate a lot. They're very controlling without realizing that they're controlling. Just like Jazz. I think the further we listen to her speak, the more you're gonna hear how controlling she really is and how much she loses control when she realizes she doesn't have control.
I can provide for you is if I control you, then find a woman that wants to be under your control. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are women out here that will jump when you say how high, who will bend over whenever you're ready. Yes, so massa, yes, so boss. If that's the type of relationship that you.
And it saddens me when I hear black women speak like this, because they talk about relationships as if it's actual slavery. They think listening to someone who's supposed to love and care for you is subjugation and something extremely negative. It's never, perhaps my husband or my boyfriend is telling me that to protect me. It's never, maybe he's instructing me to do this with the children because he might have a little bit more insight or foresight into what makes children behave the way they do long term. So he's trying to coach me into getting it right now so we don't have to deal with those problems later down the line. It's never that. It's always they're trying to control me because they're insecure. And I swear insecure is just a blanket term used by a lot of ignorant people who don't know what they're talking about.
Desire, find a woman. Like I said, there are plenty of trad wives out here that will love to be under your rule. And I do think,
Jess, is a question for you. Do you think a trad wife has control over anything in her house?
I'm sure she has.
Do you think grandma had control, like when grandpa was?
Are you gonna let me answer?
Jess, I'm having.
And see, you got to understand certain behavior. He was just asking a question, and before she could fully answer, he just was trying to clarify. And instead of listening, which obviously she has a problem with listening, she didn't even know what the question was. She caught an attitude. And you see it in the reaction of the men. Fatty, whose accent still throws me off from time to time, he just tried to reiterate. Mr. Fantastic at the top. Look at his. My hand is literally like his right now because it's like, why did you catch such a big attitude from him just trying to clarify his question that he asked you? I didn't. I don't see a reaction from a Untouchables or the Angry Man, but definitely not Lolo because Lolo Lolo ain't on camera. But stuff like that agitates people, which leads to some of these type of women staying single, which is why they have so many issues with men, and the cycle just continues.
A conversation with you, okay? If I'm literally adding just one thing, that doesn't warrant what you're doing.
Okay, see, yeah, he proved my point because that's exactly what I was talking about. He was just trying to clarify what he was asking her, and she caught an attitude. Now, can you imagine being married to somebody like that? Your life would be a living hell. Think about how much that would irk you on a day-to-day basis. Now, to make matters worse, imagine if you had a child with someone like this, which a lot of guys do because they dumb. Like, why would you even sleep with that? That's too risky. Like, why would you do that? And they have children with women like this. And guess what? That same poison gets put into the children. And yeah, you see Angry Man, he was shaking his head. I caught that as well. I swear this Ali guy, he kind of got the stoic thing going. He ain't have no reaction. But yeah, this is frustrating.
Like, you're treating me like I'm your enemy. If you want me to be your enemy, I can cosplay like it.
And that's another thing, right? Because black women were taught that black men were their enemy, which is ironic when you really think about it. And all because possibly their father didn't want their mother. That might be why.
We get back friends afterwards.
Question and then when
but I was trying to illustrate the situation so we can have a conversation with each other. Okay. Do you think not the grandma that didn't have the grandpa? Do you think when grandpa was going to work and all that, do you think auntie had any type of power in their household?
Yeah, I'm sure she had power over the kids and power over the cleaning.
And see what I mean? They try to make black women, they alter history to fit the narrative that they were taught. Black women weren't under subjugation like that. They just weren't. If you learn things about black history, black women contribute a lot to the family, a lot, which is so amazing that so many black women don't want to do those duties anymore, right? Black children thrived when they had their mother around them raising them, not some random teacher who's trying to impart weird ideology and perverted things in their mind. Right? When these children had mama around and daddy came home, they were a family. They were a unit. And when they moved like a unit, their children benefited. That's still true to this day. You know, it's not working. Women like her who have kids, single mothers like her who have kids with a baby daddy and no one gets along. And then we wonder why we have these issues in our community. Like, the man was just asking a question, but he made a very good point. If you want to treat me like your enemy, I will become your enemy. And I'm telling you, if our women don't stop what they're doing, they are going to make an enemy of the only real ally they have left.
And power over the kitchen.
Ooh-wee.
Yeah, I got so upset. I forgot what she was saying. Like, she said they only have power over the kids in the kitchen. That's not true. Grandma used to handle the finances of the home. That's still true to most families today. Every household I know, every household I know right now with a man and a woman in it, the woman tends to handle the finances unless she's financially irresponsible. And there's a lot of women who are financially irresponsible. But when they're not, they tend to handle the finances of the house. They tend to handle the investments. The man is usually just the workhorse. Your job is to go out and make it happen. Your job is to provide discipline, structure, but it's my job to maintain. And that's usually the woman's job, to maintain. If that means taking care of the household, then that's what they did. But that didn't mean that they were slaves.
So you would think you would think, hold on. Do you think I'd rather be outside and busting down every single woman and not having no responsibility to a woman, or do you think most men want to take care of women? What do you think?
Do I think most men want to take care of a woman?
Mm-hmm.
Want to? I don't know.
You don't know. Okay, that's fine. If a man, let's say a man has less
Yo, she don't know nothing. Yo, that's why I can't stand why they bring these people on here. All right.
responsibilities when he takes care of himself, just like women say they live in their best life when they single. If he's taking care of you and investing in you, he's controlled some sort of way, right? To do what makes you happy. He's under your control. Like y'all
No,
are cross play it. No, let me finish. Y'all are cross play this. Oh, he loves doing that for me. He's a real man. He's a good man. That's a good brother. But he's doing what you want him to do, because if he didn't do what you want him to do and wasn't under your control, you wouldn't be with him.
I ain't gonna lie. I be doing what my wife want to do because I don't be doing nothing. I be like, yo, what you doing? I ain't doing nothing. I'm chilling. Like that's what I was saying. Most men just want to chill. We will literally sit there and relax if we had the opportunity. Especially the more physical a man's job is, the more he wants to relax. Guaranteed.
well, actually, I shouldn't have to control you for you to
No,
want
can
to
you,
do.
hey Jazz, can
Can I?
you address the part that I said? No,
I
please.
am. You're
Hey,
saying
no, you did.
And what he was saying is it's a form of control, how women can control men into doing what they want us to do because it makes them happy. That's what he was getting at.
Hey, Jazz, the man you weren't with in your life is because they didn't do what you wanted them to do. The man you're with right now is doing what you want him to do, correct?
I feel sorry for that man. Like he need to go work on himself if he dealing with somebody like her. Like seriously. If she acts like this in real life, because sometimes, let's be real, some of these people are paid actors. They do what they do because it makes them money.
we are. It's not that he's doing what I want him to do. We do for each other because we genuinely like each other. I'm not controlling him. I'm not forcing him. See, y'all are saying like, if I'm going to do all this, I have to control you.
That's not what he said.
Whereas there
That's
are
not what,
some
no,
relationships.
no. So,
There are some.
That's
no,
not
in
what
order
he
to,
says. Hey,
in
Ali, one
order,
I'll
second.
be right back. I'll
Ali,
be right back.
Ali, one
I gotta
second.
get
No,
my
Ali.
charger. I'll be
No,
back.
no, no,
I
no.
gotta get
Jess, that's not
my
what he.
laptop about to die. I'll be back. Y'all got it.
Yeah, Jess, that's not what he said. And
And that's what I was saying in the past too. This is a tactic. Or every time they got issues, their phone is dying. Something wrong with their computer. Their microphone just blew up. It's always some nonsense. The only time they don't do that is when they're in person. And when they're in person, they use other excuses like, oh, my head hurt, or I'm not feeling well. It's this is what children do. Like one of my daughters, right? Every time she knows she's wrong and you call her out, all of a sudden she itchy. Like, so now you itchy? Come on now. Like, and it's funny because I had a boy, one of my boys, every time he would do something dumb and you would like grab him or reach to hit him, he would like, ah, my eye. And it's like, boy, I ain't even hit you yet. Like, relax.
this is the difficulty of having this conversation. Your man does, for the most part, 80% of what you want to do. Oh, you want to go to Miami? There's the vacation. Oh, you want that car for the kids? We got it. Oh, you want to eat that? You got it. Oh, you want like even the style how the man dresses, or like you ever say.
Yeah, that is true. And it goes even deeper than that. Even when men are making big investments. So let's say you're buying a house. It is widely known in real estate. If you ask any realtor, they'll tell you the exact same thing. The man typically pays for the house, but the woman buys the house. They choose it. They decide which house gets purchased. They decide where it is, if they like the community, if they like the people around, and most importantly, they look for the bathroom and the kitchen. Those are the selling points of houses. Why? What man you know, unless he's a cook, cares about the damn kitchen? Like, let's be real. What man cares about the bathroom? Men get in and out. We ain't in there for 2 hours. Unless they depressed. Apparently, when people are depressed, they stay in hot showers longer. But it's like, yeah, we don't care. And women do have that level of control over us. We just don't care.
Most men will let you just go ahead and do it. Most of the
My bad.
decision says that you have on a day-to-day basis, your man is not going to go against you and says, I'm the man, you better do what I want. You get 80%. I know, Jess, I was talking with Ali before the show about this. If I'm seeing a woman, Jess, for the most part, I dictate the time that we are together. But when I'm with her, I'm kind of doing what she wants to do because I don't motherfucking care.
Word up. I stay doing what my wife want to do. I swear, if I don't feel like doing what my wife wants to do, I'm either hanging out with my friends or I'm sleeping. That's really it. But every weekend, I swear, it's 52 weekends out the year. At least like 49, I'm doing what she want me to do, unless I'm working.
Watch series together that I'm not into, but I start watching with her because I want to spend quality time with her. She wants to go to that restaurant, she goes to the restaurant. If she wants to travel to that place, she goes that place. If she wants to have 2 kids, we have 2 kids. If she wants a house that is yellow instead of blue, the house is yellow. This is most relationships. The only thing that the man wants, Jess, is a veto power. Meaning the kids can be inside of the house, the mom can be inside of the house, they can do what they need to do. But when I put my foot down, which is something very rare for most men, when I say, I don't want you to dress like that, on that one dress that is too much of the 1,000 dresses that you have, you go ahead and you change your dress.
I never really looked at it like that, but that's a very great point. Like, most men don't really want that much control. They just want veto power. It's like, yeah, you can pretty much do what you want, but until you go a little bit overboard, it's like, all right, yeah, no, we're not doing that. And I'm starting to think, like, okay, do I do that? And it's like, yeah, that's exactly how I move. I tell people all the time, my wife got mad freedom. Like, I don't bother my wife. If she wants to go do something, all right, see you later. Right? Oh, you want me to watch kids? I bet. They're my kids. Like, I don't mind being with my kids. I don't mind spending time with my kids. I mean, sometimes they be wilding because they my kids, so they act like me. They kind of wild. But it's like, for the most part, it's like I don't say no. And it's only when like somebody's doing something crazy in my house, I'll be like, all right. You turn it to Kevin Hart where he's like, all right, you better not leave that toilet.
Hey, hey! I know y'all not in that toilet. Y'all better not be in that toilet.
That's the only time I really like stand up and say something, or someone's misbehaving, or if one of the kids think they could talk back to my wife. That's the only real times you step up and say something. But other than that, it's like, yeah, you just make sure that everyone's good, everyone's safe, everyone's happy, and then unless that happiness has long-term negative effects, of course.
I'll ask you 2 questions, Jess, and then I want Lolo and Fantastic to intervene. Do you think this is a realistic depiction of relationships? And second, do you think this is oppression? Me letting you do, for the most part, what you want to do, and understand to 20% of things in 100 that we do, I say, I'm sorry, I'm your man, you shouldn't do that. Do you think that's most relationships? And do you think that's oppression, a man oppressing and controlling a woman?
No, I think relationships are about compromise. So what you just named, like sometimes I watch this show, you usually wouldn't, but you like your girl, so and she probably wants your company, so you'll compromise and watch the show. That's not her controlling you. That's just doing you. That's just you doing something naturally
So
because you like your girl. You actually love her back, and even though you don't want to watch this bullshit, it's like this is my girl. I like her. She likes my company. It's okay to be a nice person and not feel like you can.
nah, that's still a form of control. She didn't answer the question. And I get tired of when people beat around the bush, which is why I probably wouldn't be able to stand these panels because I'll be cutting everybody off. It's like, listen, the question was, well, let me not even go all the way back to the question, but he made the point that it is a form of control when the man has to do things he does not want to do to please his girl. That's essentially what it means. What she's saying is semi-correct. That's how relationships work. Women should also have to do things they don't necessarily want to do to please their man. That's the only way these things work. When you got 2 people who can't seem to compromise, their relationships won't last long. But she doesn't answer questions, which is like, why y'all keep bringing her back?
Only be a good person unless you got total control and authority over somebody. If your person loves you, they're going to listen to you. If your person appreciates and respects you, they're going to follow whatever leadership that you have. If your leadership and whatever it is that you're controlling is beneficial for both people in the relationship, and she honors you, she's going to follow that. So it's like if you're a solid dude and you know what you're leading yourself down the right road. You're respecting this woman.
She's rambling, but I find it hilarious that all the men put their finger up at least once, except Mr. Fantastic. I don't think he did it, but I wasn't looking up there.
She ain't gonna have no problem falling under your rule or your control or whatever you want it to be. But you shouldn't have to like you shouldn't have to feel like in order for you to show up as a man, you gotta put your foot on a woman's neck. I just
Thank you. I'm glad. Wait, I'm glad she said that. Hold on. Listen
She
what
said
she just
it.
said.
You just
You heard
said
what she
it.
just
Oh
said?
my God, you just said it.
You think that the only way you can show up as a man, what do you mean when you say show up as a man?
And before she answers that, this is what I keep telling y'all, warning y'all about. Be careful when you listen to people who use vague terminology. Please be careful because they use it as leverage in arguments. My mother used to use that same phrase, show up and stand up, a lot. Be a man, stand up. And I remember when I got old, I was a teenager. I said, what do you mean by stand up? And she caught the holiest of attitudes because she's been saying it for like 10 years, but she couldn't define it. And sometimes people just say things like she rambles a lot. She goes on these little short rants, but she don't say anything. And even just having conversation with people like that is very frustrating. So it's like, what my point is, it's like, be very careful when you're talking to people who use this type of terminology, and make sure you ask follow-up questions, because follow-up questions get them every time.
So what I'm hearing is that if I provide, I need full control. So when you provide.
Now, mind you, although she already misconstrued what he said, right? Instead of answering the question, she said, what I'm hearing is. He didn't ask her what she was hearing. He asked her what she already said. So not only is she changing the topic after changing the topic, she's also changing the topic after she changed the topic after she changed the topic.
You're saying you pretty much provide financially, correct?
No.
She said it.
Do you realize that the expectation that you just expressed is an obligation of us that we don't have control over?
What was the expectation that I expressed? Repeat it back to me.
And everybody got frustrated because that's what people do with weak arguments. They play dumb.
What was my expectation?
This is what you said verbatim. You said men feel like the only way they can show up as a man is if they have total control.
Okay.
You said that, right?
That's what it sounds like sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So even though you are in the woman's position, which is the secondary position, and you
Why
feel
is it
like
secondary?
I'm describing what you're talking about. You're talking about a man being in control. If he's in control, that puts the woman in the secondary position, correct?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Okay.
She's under him. He's taking all of her choice away. He controls.
Okay. So this is the context of the conversation.
Okay.
So even if the woman is in the secondary position, the expectation she has of him to provide, to protect, to do all of these things, those are obligations, right?
Well, yeah, if you're going to control me, you definitely have to.
Let's put that to the side for a second.
So this is why I said she's obsessed with control. Because even when they're not talking about control, she just keeps bringing up control.
That's why he's controlling me, because he is providing, right?
But let's put that to the side for a second. We can get to that in a second. So the expectations that you just described, regardless of what woman a man gets with, from the moment a young man becomes an adult, is that not expected of him societally?
Yes. And that's why I think, and that is exactly why I think patriarchy hurts men a lot, because it puts too much pressure on y'all to do things that may not be like.
Nah, we're not going to do that, because all this pressure doesn't come from patriarchy. It comes from women, right? I don't hear patriarchy telling men that they need to work 80 hours a week and then, pay for everything for their wives. But I do hear countless women on the internet saying it. I don't hear the patriarchy saying that men should go to war and die and just leave everything to their wife. But I hear women saying it. I don't hear women saying, I don't hear the patriarchy saying that men should give up most of their money to take care of a woman they're no longer with, simply because she had a child. But we hear women saying it. It's not the patriarchy.
To do things, not because you guys are more than capable of doing it, but it's like if you're not doing it to a certain caliber, there's all this pressure from society that's telling y'all are failing.
Yeah, exactly. And guess what? Here's the thing, because you can't pass the buck on that, because it's not just patriarchy that expects that of us. Y'all expect that of us
because of patriarchy.
No, We're not gonna do that. You're not. First of all, here's the thing. You can't.
Okay.
You can't. Check this out, Jazz. Check this out. I'm listening to everything you're saying, and I've been listening to you this whole time. And what you're doing is you're obfuscating, because at the end of the day, you cannot complain about you as a woman being able to have autonomy. You said a woman should be able to have autonomy, right?
I think women and men should have autonomy because it's inherent.
Well, let's.
Don't none of us have autonomy because we live under a government. If you live under a government, you don't have full control over nothing. And it's a hard pill to swallow, even when people own, like, let's say their homes, right? You don't actually own your home, which is why they can tax you and take it whenever they feel like it. Don't pay your taxes, they'll just take it back. Did you really own it? That's debatable. I don't think so.
We're human beings. No one gives us freedom. We have inherent freedom.
Okay, so
it wasn't right when they took your freedom as men before the 13th Amendment. So why would you think it's right to take a woman's freedom just because she's a woman?
We don't gotta go into all of that. I'm asking you, Jazz, as a woman in the modern era, do you feel like you have autonomy and agency over yourself?
At this time, yes.
Okay. Do you feel that most women nowadays have, because of the rights that women have, you have autonomy and agency over yourself?
Well, it depends on what state you live in, because right now, if you need any type of emergency.
This chick said it depends on what type of state. He asked, do you think you have autonomy? And she said, it depends on the state you live in. She ain't even bother answering what state she live in. She talking about some fairy tale woman that got nothing to do with her. This is why these conversations go nowhere.
Attention, if you're trying to give birth and there's something that happens, they're banning women for having those emergency procedures.
I'm not talking
based
about
on their.
I never understood how that works, because the minute they was talking about in red states that they were getting rid of, I almost said it, but they're getting rid of ending babies, right? I was like, can't they just drive to another state and do it? And it's like, oh, well, if they get caught, they'll get in trouble. Can't you just move? Like, what? Like, how would they even know? Especially if you don't tell anybody you're pregnant. Especially if you don't go to the doctor. How would they know?
Also, it does vary. I mean, men's rights don't vary from state to state, but women's are right now.
Men's rights do.
Yeah, he's about to call her out, but yeah, men's rights do vary from state to state based on when you're married. Depending on where you live, if you get married and a woman decides she doesn't like you anymore and wants to leave, in certain states, she doesn't have to give a reason. She could just leave. She could still take half of your earnings, half of your pension, half of everything you worked for. She can take your children. She can move to another state, depending on where she is, and then still you'll have to pay for that. So it does vary for men from state to state, but I do find it hilarious that so many women have no idea how laws affect men. They can usually tell you that they're being oppressed, but can't tell you a single law that benefits men that doesn't benefit women. But the minute men start to say that there are laws that hurt men that don't hurt women, the room tends to go quiet or the subject gets changed. Let's see which one happens.
Vary from state to state. Everybody's rights.
Can you name me one? Which
men
bodily rights are from state to state are
men's bodily rights?
Yeah, like if something were to happen to you.
A man can be drafted to go to war.
If you don't pay child support, you go to jail. If you don't get drafted, you go to jail. There's a bunch of people.
I haven't even lived to see the draft is something that, and not every man gets drafted.
I want to add this to the conversation because I think some people just can't think critically, which is why we keep running back and forth in these circles. None of us really have bodily autonomy. Let's say you want to chop off your arm. You're not allowed to do that. It's your arm. You're not going to hurt anyone but yourself. You're still not allowed to do it. Let's say you want to end yourself. I mean, people figure out ways, but you're not allowed to just do it, especially in a public forum. They're not going to let you do it. So none of us really truly have bodily autonomy. And it's like, I get what she's saying, because she's going to say this, the age-old argument that if I have a baby in me, I should get to decide whether or not I keep that baby. I think that's a weak argument. I've always thought it was a weak argument because you're, one, excluding the person that you had a child with, which means you're taking away a right and a decision away from them. That's something that men aren't allowed to do that women can do, by the way. And it's also like you get to end a baby. Like, I don't know why some of these women are so obsessed with harming and ending their own children. It's like, I swear it would just be better to live different, but it's hard to hold people who don't have accountability accountable. So it's easier to just end them rather than to not sleep around, which might be why they constantly fight for it. And it's also weird that I heard someone say that within the last possibly 10, 15 years, no Democratic candidate has won that did not want to allow women to harm their own seed, their own child. Not one. And if that doesn't speak volumes to the mentality of some of these women, I honestly don't know what does.
And not every man is able to get drafted because there are parameters around the type of women they draft.
Hey, Jess, did your hero Muhammad Ali literally? And I got you, Ingrid, man. I just want to make sure, Jess, you are a black activist, like you support Muhammad Ali. Literally was going to go to jail because he didn't want.
She's not a black activist, and we really got to stop calling everybody an activist just because they got an opinion. I got an opinion. I'm not an activist. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, these people are not activists. They just have an opinion. She don't do nothing. You could tell. Look at the way she thinks. She can't form a single thought process that connects with anything being said today. But she's an activist. Give me a break.
To go to war. You should know better. You should know that.
I didn't say that.
No, Jess, you don't have to reply. Jess, you don't have to. Jess, you don't have to reply. What I'm saying is that
going with the conversation. She's derailing.
I said not every man can be drafted.
It's not about not every state. Oh my.
Yo, first of all, it don't even matter about the draft.
And in the draft, that doesn't even happen. Y'all have never been drafted. Y'all haven't even lived to see your family members be drafted.
Because guess what? Basically.
And see, and she would rather be right than to understand. And I think that's one of the major reasons why black women are at the bottom of the marriage totem pole. Because there are so many black women who embody this young woman's behavior. They are trying to get her to understand. There also seems to be a comprehension issue, but I don't know her mental state, so I'm not going to talk about that. But there seems to be an understanding issue where she doesn't seem to understand any of the points that they're making. And instead of taking the time to try to understand, she's trying to be right. That's why she said, well, none of you have ever got drafted. That's besides the point. It's beyond the point. It reminds me of how so many people, when they hear that most men don't like gold diggers, they harp on the idea like, well, y'all don't even have money. Doesn't matter. Like, that's irrelevant. That's a moot point. But again, this behavior, this mentality, it's all connected. And this is why some people end up the way that they end up, even though we're not allowed to say that publicly anymore.
Any man.
That's not even happening on a large scale, like wavering of women's rights are.
No, but
Ali, please, 1 second. You know why this conversation is so frustrating to us? Because you probably never was denied health care because you are a woman and you speak for women that get health care denied. You probably never was denied an abortion, but you keep talking about women that lose their bodily autonomy on certain because we're revoking certain rights. You are not going through most women's struggles, and you still go ahead and say, but look at these women's struggles. And now the thing remaining is saying, most men might not go be drafted or might not go to jail because they don't pay child support, but this can truly happen to a man and you can lose your bodily autonomy because you're not following the rules. You are replying with, but that doesn't happen to most men.
Okay, but
Man, I guess that's why Fatty's the moderator, because he be catching a lot of these the nonsensical arguments, right? Like, I would never understand why so many women argue points that have never happened to them. Never happened to them. Like, there's women who've never been through abuse, don't know anyone who's been through abuse, yet they always argue abuse. Their biggest fear is abuse. And I get why it can be a fear, but it's like it literally never happened to you. So why are you pretending like it's so frequent, so common? Right? The R word. It's like so many people, so many women argue that point as well, yet they don't know a single person who has ever dealt with. They heard it on the news, but they never heard, no one in their circle, no one they know ever went through it. Right? And don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean it doesn't happen, but it just goes to show you it doesn't happen as frequently as so many people like to think it does. And it's like the way that they think, you would swear that it happens every day, all the time, everywhere. Does it happen in certain countries? Yes. But does it happen here? It's a slow, small chance. And I've learned that I've had many friends, female friends growing up, and they act like life is a soap opera. It's strange. Like, they act like everything is bad all the time. And it's like, Sweetheart, you live in one of the most safest countries and one of the most safest times in human history. Why do you think this way? And none of them seem to be able to answer that question.
The thing is, though, Fatty, when was the last draft?
Okay, so
when was the last
So here's the
draft?
thing. So here's
The
the thing.
draft is not
So
affecting
here's
y'all
the
in
thing.
his
I don't even
lifetime
have
at
to
all.
use the
But
draft
what
as
is
an
affecting
example
women
if she
in his
stops
lifetime
talking.
is our bodily autonomy and our rights.
I don't even have to use the
Subjugated
draft.
to people changing them
But
based on their own beliefs that have nothing
no,
to
no,
do
no,
with
no.
what I'm saying. Everybody should have the right to choose what they want.
Yeah, but you don't have to use the draft as an example. I mean, but you can, and that's the problem. She don't like it, but you can use the draft as an example. I remember when I was growing up, I was eligible for the draft, right? I can't remember which war it was, but I remember when they had like selective service paperwork, that they still had that around, not what, 15 years ago, right? Was that 15, 20 years ago? I don't remember, but it was still around. So it's like, even if you couldn't be drafted, the point is, if they did have a draft, you have no control over your body. Your body is essentially a weapon for the government at that point. The same way women feel like they don't have autonomy, men don't have autonomy. But if you ask women who believe they don't have autonomy, they will swear that men have autonomy. And that's the problem, even if it's not rooted in reality.
To do with their body, you don't have any bearing on another person's life, whether you agree with what they're doing or not. Y'all so pro-life, but don't want to take away free lunches for schools for kids.
What are you talking
so pro-life,
I think she's talking about Charlie Kirk. And this is where you start to lose people, because she's bringing in arguments that don't matter, and two, that are non-existent. I think most human beings don't mind little kids getting free lunch at school. Hell, if I'm going to pay for anything, I would rather my taxes go to pay for every child's free lunch than half of these corrupt politicians' free healthcare. That's just my opinion. But she's doing what a lot of liberal women do, and you're bringing in a point that you heard one time from one person, maybe championed by a few other idiots, and now you're putting it on everyone you think fits that group. It's terrible, but that's how a lot of people think.
This is the reason. This right here is the reason. This right here is the reason men of the past subjugated y'all and didn't want you to be part of any type of civil conversation.
And you're proud of
you
that.
don't know when you shut the fuck up.
So that's the way men.
That doesn't mean he's proud of it. He's just saying, he's giving them the I don't think she understands examples. I know it sounds bad, but he's saying this is why. And if you have people who can't understand, if you have people who react out of emotion, there's a reason why you're left out of conversations. Although he's getting emotional right now, and I get it. They're both getting emotional because they're both frustrated. But they're both frustrated for two separate reasons. She's frustrated because she doesn't understand what's going on and doesn't understand what they're saying. It reminds me a lot of like when old people get frustrated about new stuff. If you ever helped old people with technology, you would see that level of frustration. But his frustration is different. He's frustrated because she's just bringing up nonsense and like derailing the conversation. And even now, even when he gives that example, she's going to derail it further.
No, Jazz, you're out of control. Hey, Jazz. Hey, Jazz.
But the only way for you to understand women is if you put your hands on them and subjugate them.
Excuse me.
Hey, no. We are not going to do that. We're not going to do that. That's incredible, Jazz. That's incredible, Jazz. Jazz. That's so dangerous, Jazz. Jazz, why are you saying that?
And you saw her reaction when he said it's dangerous. And we're going to keep having the same conversation as long as women are not held accountable for the things that they say. They will have that same reaction she just had when she shrugged her shoulders. They put like their ideology on men in general, and they make men out to be the bad guy. And that has gotten men ended. They use that same mentality. They get their little weak attack dogs, and those weak men go attack other men. They have gone to the court system and police officers with the same mentality and gotten men arrested. Right? We're at 2 minutes and 51. 2 hours and 51 minutes. I'll I might pick this back up because I can see this conversation getting derailed even longer, but this video has gotten really, really long. So unless somebody's watching it from their car on their cross-country trip, or they just like long travel to work or something, this might be a bit too long. And I thank you for sticking with me this long. But you gotta understand, like, some of these conversations don't work because the people y'all having these conversations with are essentially stupid. And I mean that. Like, if people can't understand your point and your points are simple, perhaps you should just stop talking to them. And what scares me the most is her arguments is the same arguments you hear from a lot of single black women. And it bothers me because it seems like they don't understand what's being said. And if they can't understand what's being said, that means they can't learn. If they can't learn, then men will just stay away from them. If men stay away from them, this single mother problem is not going to go away. And if this single mother problem doesn't go away, we're going to have more children born in chaos and confusion. Those same kids will then grow up and create destruction and more chaos and confusion. Then they're going to grow up and be like these women. They're going to grow up to be like these dumb men who just do stupid, moronic, foolish things. Those people are going to continue to breed, get together, and then the cycle is just going to continue and continue and continue. And eventually, this country is not going to be able to pay for that level of stupid. It's not. But I'll cut this off here. This girl pisses me off in every video I watch of hers. I swear, I should just make content of just her videos, because good Lord. But I'll see y'all soon.
Thanks for listening to the Center Ground Podcast. We'll be back soon with some more great content. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment on the video. We are a new channel, and growth is essentially our main objective. So send us an email at centerground.pod@gmail.com with any ideas or clips you would like for us to review. This was definitely fun, and I'd say let's do it again. But before you go, always remember, greatness lives somewhere within you. Just make sure you're taking the time to find the key to unlock that greatness. Until we meet again, I'll see you soon.